Hi everybody and welcome back. Today we're going to make something magical out of this plain box. This came from Temu. It was a couple of quid, nothing exciting. You can buy them also on Amazon. I very much like the hardware on it. That is super nice. And so for this project I have gathered, this is a stencil. This also came from either Shein or Temu. Again, you can get these on Amazon as well. And that is going to be the basis for my brickwork or stonework, which is going to go on the top of the cabinet. And I will probably do the same around the sides and the back as well, although not the bottom. I'm just going to leave the bottom plain. And then to make it magical, I have this gorgeous little mold. It came from Amazon. It came from American Amazon. For some reason, they don't have this in the UK version. So what we've got is we've got the wall where you push your trolley through. We've got some cases, we've got a clock, a platform 9 3/4 sign, a lamp and a lamp hanger. So this time, instead of using plaster of Paris, which I did in my last project, I'm going to use air drying clay. So the first thing that I'm going to do before I do anything with the box at all is fill up this mold with the clay, use a rolling pin just to get it nice and in there, and then leave that for a day or so to dry. And in the meantime we can get on with the box, for which I have a bunch of different paints. You can choose whatever you like. I'm going to give a base coat to this whole box around sides, back and top, and for that I'm thinking of mixing, it's a bit weird, but I'm going to use some silver. This is going to be the grout, because obviously when this is on the top and we stencil over it, I don't want the wood colour showing. So instead I thought we'd have maybe mix some silver with maybe burnt sienna. I don't know. I'll see how I feel when I get to that point. So that's going to be my grout. And then over the top, I'm going to paint the stonework a mixture of red, brown and black, and just see, what kind of colour we can make. So for the base coat, I'm just going to use a normal paintbrush. This one is so old and well used, but I love it. And for the stenciling, you can either use a stencil brush like this one, or maybe a sponge, which I think is probably what I'll try this time. I've never tried a sponge before. All right then, let's get started. Okay, so I have mixed up some of the silver acrylic and some, what is this? Burnt sienna, and a little bit of water just to, make it not quite so thick and gloopy. And now, because I haven't made up my mind whether I want this box to be displayed open or closed, so although I'm decorating the lid, I haven't ruled out the option of wallpapering the inside of the box. And so, because of that, I might want to put potion bottles in it or something, and scrolls and whatnot. So I'm going to start off. This is very weak, as you see. It just covers up the wood colour and makes it a little bit more interesting. It'll probably need a couple of coats, and I'm not worrying too much about the hardware. If I go over that, it's no big deal. Just want to start with the inside first, and then that can dry so that I can do the outside of the box before we decorate it. Okay, I'm going to let that dry and then move on to the outside. Okay, and then onto the outside of the box. Wow, I really love this colour. It's kind of like my favourite eyeshadow to wear, this sort of minky, taupey, cool tone colour. I might actually leave these sides bare when it comes to it and just decorate the top and not stencil the sides, we'll see. Okay, first coat on, I'm going to leave that in the sun to dry, and yes, there is some sun in England today, so that won't take long, and then I will do a second coat. Okay, my box has had 2 coats and it's now nice and dry. I have attached the stencil, it's fairly loose, with some of this stuff. I don't even know what it's called. It's Scotch blue. So yeah, just little bits around about the edges. I'm going to use the sponge, and this time I haven't watered down my paint at all, and I'm using, what am I using? I'm using burnt umber and crimson. So yeah, fun. Crimson red. Okay, let's get that nice and covered, and let's go. When this is dry, I'm going to leave the stencil in place, but when this is dry, I may well use another colour to go over the top, just to give it a bit of depth. What might be a fun thing to do to give it some texture is to mix into the paint perhaps a bit of plaster of Paris or something, some other kind of, polyfiller or something. When it's all done, I will be varnishing the box to protect the paint. And I'm not being too precious about making sure that every single little bit is covered, because I will be adding another colour. Okay, I'm going to leave that in the sun to dry and then mix another colour. Okay, so that is pretty much dry now. I have mixed up another colour using burnt umber, burnt sienna and a bit of red, so it's almost the same but not quite. And I have a small container and a very small little sponge, and I'm just going to dab this in here, and again I'm just going to be very circumspect, really, I guess, not not being precious with it, just dabbing it where I feel like I would like a bit more definition. I'll let that dry and then peel off. That's going to be so satisfying to peel off the stencil. All right, so the last thing that I'm going to do today is decorate the inside of the box, and for that purpose I'm going to decoupage some paper in there. These are some old bits of paper that I got from Temu in a big bundle, just in case I do want to use this for displaying potions. It's certainly what I have in my mind. I mean, you could use anything. I was originally going to use the Daily Prophet, but I changed my mind. So I have watered down some Mod Podge, and all I'm going to do is just paste that into the bottom of the box. Just make sure there's a nice thin layer. And then I'm going to add the paper on top of that. Just make sure it's well stuck down. And do the same on the bottom. Not that anyone's ever going to see that, but just in case, I'll know it's done. Okay, and then I'm going to cover the whole thing with Mod Podge. And if, like me, you get an air bubble, I'm just using my finger to get rid of any. And that's it. I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to leave that to dry. But before I log off for today, I'm just going to peel off that stencil, and we will get the moment of truth. Oh yeah, that'll do nicely. Okay, that will do. I can see already I've got a little mistake there where it's bled underneath, but I can cover that up. That is no big deal. I think that's come out pretty nicely. I'll let it firm up overnight while the inside dries, and then tomorrow we'll start adding the decorations. Okay, see you then. All right then, so progress. I have added some stickers to the box, and one for each end. I've made them potion stickers so that way if I do decide to use it as a potion box, then I can. But now it's time to decorate the lid and the moment of truth for my air drying clay. So let's check it out. I can see already it's coming out super easy. I've got a bit of trimming to do around the edges, and I will do that with just a little bit of, oh, it's not quite dry yet in the corners. Yeah, I'll just use this thing and then just chip away at the little extraneous bits. But yeah, that's come out beautifully. Much, much better than the plaster of Paris. Let's check out the other bits. Ooh, okay. Oh, look at that for a brick wall. Wow. Okay, that is lovely. And then the lamp. Once I've chipped off the edges, etc., I think it's going to be perfect for painting. And I've got some paints available for the purpose. Oh yeah, these are lovely. This is a great mold. Everything's coming out brilliantly and really easily and crisp and pristine. Okay, I'm just wondering actually whether I might not do a second lamp, one for each corner of the box. Don't know. We'll see. See what it looks like with one and then I'll decide. Okay, and then finally, my clock face. Okay, those are pretty good. All right then, I will now proceed to tidy them all up and chip off all these little bits, and then I will also sand around the edges. Okay. Okay, that painting took forever, but worth it, I think. I made a terrible mess of the clock, so instead what I've done is printed off a clock face, just a random one off the internet, which I thought looked 10 times better than my awful painting. Honestly, doing those little numbers was impossible. So yeah. Okay, I think it came out pretty well, so now it's just a question of deciding where I want to put everything and then gluing it down. I did find a little tiny broomstick charm, which I thought would look quite cute, kind of there-ish. Oh, and my golden snitch. Don't quite know where I'm going to put him. Maybe up there. Who knows? And then my lamp, I'm not going to make another one. One is plenty. That can go in this area. And then from Etsy, oh my goodness, years ago, I bought some little mini for diorama making purposes, little mini daily profits. I mean, it's so small. Fabulous. So I thought I would just pop that there just to cover up that tiny little, well, it wasn't an error, but it didn't come out very well on the stencil. So I'm just going to pop that there. Ish. Okay, I will get gluing. And for that purpose, I'm using Yoo-Hoo. All right then, once that is all dry, then I'm going to paint the whole thing with some varnish. Just to protect the paintwork, the one I use is Liquitex, and it's a lovely satin. So yeah, I will cover the whole box with that, including the signs around the side. Okay, we're all done. This is the box in its final finished condition. We've got stickers around the front and the sides. We've got our decoration on the top and inside. And you could display this any old way you wanted to, but I thought maybe pop in a couple of potions, maybe a scroll, miniature spyglass, you know, whatever. Then you can just sit the top of it thusly, so you can display the contents. I think that's a really pretty idea. Sadly, you miss out on all the glory of the top, but depending on where you put it, actually, I mean, if you're on a a little table where you can see all around, that would work perfectly. All right, well, that's it. I have enjoyed this project enormously. In fact, you know, I'm loving doing these videos. I haven't had this much fun in years. It's great. If there's anything you'd like to ask me to attempt, do let me know and I'll consider it for sure. But that's it for today. I'll call that the end of the video and I will see you soon for the next one. Take care and stay safe, everybody.